Oh, that's the wrong view. Let's take that away. Hello. It always never begins smoothly. Never. Hello. Good morning, good afternoon, good evening, whatever the time of day is, wherever you are, in whatever part of the world you're in. This is episode number 368 of This Week in WordPress. That 2-minute music that we have just then, sometimes that seems to take a literal hour. Like, it's the most tedious, annoying piece of music ever. And
I almost
sometimes
fell
like,
asleep.
oh, good Lord, will you just get on with it? That one, for some reason, took about 4 seconds. That was so weird. You ever get that? Where, like, the same thing that you do day in, day out suddenly is like there's a time shift going on. Very, very strange. We're going to be joined by maybe a couple more people than we've got on the screen at the moment. It remains to be seen, but there's a very high chance that some people who are currently in meetings and things like that will be joining us, and if they do, we'll just drop them in. But for now, I will welcome the guests that have made it at the allotted time, and I'll start right over there. I'll start with Bud. How you doing, Bud? Bud Kraus, how's it going?
Okay, Nathan, how are you? I wanted to say, in that green room music that you referred to, I almost fell asleep. It was so hypnotic. You're going to catch me taking a nap here.
Yeah. So Bud's joining us, and I'm thankful that we can get all the tech gremlins worked out. I'm very appreciative of you showing up a little bit before and working all the bits and pieces out. I'll just do Bud's quick bio because it is quite a quick one.
Sorry.
Bud, that's good. I like it. Bud says, again, I got to do this again. Yeah, sorry. Bud Kraus creates WordPress content for WordPress businesses and is the host of the... This is great. I love this. Host of the wildly popular podcast, Seriously Bud. I'm going to add a little bit. It's way better than any other WordPress podcast out there. Go listen.
You're right.
That's so good. So there he is, Bud, joining us from the... I forget whereabouts you are in the US.
Well, I moved recently to Somerville, New Jersey, from Wrigley, New Jersey. So I'm an hour south of where I was.
Okay.
Yeah.
Oh, was there a reason for the move? You just fancied
because we have children and grandchildren that live in this general area, so my wife wanted to be with them.
Oh, that's lovely. What a good reason to move. Loving it.
Yeah.
Okay, and we're also joined by Steve Burge, who's there. Hello, Steve.
Hey.
Nice to have you with us. Steve's joining us. I'm going to say Florida, and actually Bud said where it was in Florida, and I've now forgotten, and I know it begins with an S, but I've forgotten where.
Sarasota. I'm on the non-sharky side.
Is that the Panhandle side, right?
Yes.
Okay.
The Gulf of Mexico / Gulf of America, depending on your political beliefs.
Very nice. Yeah. Oh, lovely. Yeah. Less alligators over on that side of things. Steve Burge has been on this show many, many times before, and you may know him, but if you don't, he is the founder of PublishPress, which is a suite of plugins which enable you to do tons more in your WordPress block editor than you would ever imagine, especially around the sort of whole editing workflows. You've got teams and things like that. It's definitely worth a look. PublishPress. Go Google it. And the bio goes as follows. I've spent more on books than AI so far in 2026. I know that needs to change, and I'm not an AI hater, but my brain already feels somewhat fried by the internet. You know what? I think we all need to wear the AI hater badge with pride. I'm starting to think it's not the best thing that we kind of as a species invented. So yeah, that's our panel thus far. I've got Taco Verdonschot is joining us. I can see that he's in the studio now, but it looks like he hasn't been able to enable his camera. So Taco, I don't know if you want to... and as I say that, things seem to be changing. I'll drop you in, Taco.
Just leave him there.
Yeah. Oh, roasting.
Well,
just
I love him.
Let's put him on the screen and see if he comes. So Taco apparently is a diagonal black line. If it's not working, Taco, go in, refresh the Chrome. Just the actual Chrome browser seems to have the least problems. So if you want to try that, you may already be in that, and just make sure you've got permissions set. But actually, you know what? I'll introduce Taco. Oh, there he is. It's randomly picked that camera.
Yes.
It's supposed to go over there. I'm not sure what's happening, but let me see if I can fix that.
We got you. You fix it up whilst I introduce you. So there's our third panelist. We may be joined by a fourth in a little while. We'll have to see. But Taco down there, as you can see, is Taco is better known as Taco Verdo online. He's the CCO at Progress Planner, the plugin that helps you stay active on your WordPress website through smart advice and gamification. Outside of work, you can find him organizing stuff like WP meetups and LAN parties, playing with his kids, walking or riding his child's bike. As of late, he's been screaming, oh dear, he's been screaming a lot his computer, thanks to his new hobby, vibe coding. Not sure if that's a hobby or just like a death wish. But have you? You've been getting into it. You've been trying things out. Oh,
yeah. At some point, my colleague said, "I'm done with you looking at us building stuff. It's time that you build your own stuff."
Right.
Here's a Claude account. Go play.
Okay.
And I've seen my wife since, I think. No, it's been a lot of fun. So I built a little planning tool that helps you schedule meetings across time zones and with different people and all of that.
Oh, neat.
And it's a lot of fun.
That you want to see through. That's the best way to do it, I think. Yeah, that's nice.
Yeah.
Well, I appreciate you joining us, and thank you for coming out of your meeting early, if that's indeed what you did. But we're going to talk a little bit about WordPress. I'll share things on the screen in a moment, but a few bits of housekeeping before we begin. Sorry, we had to pull the show last week. I had some medical stuff, which I'm still dealing with, actually. I'll just say this. Everything on my screen is on font size, whatever the biggest I can get. It's on super big font size because I've got problems with my eyes. So we'll see how we manage. If I struggle and click the wrong buttons, forgive me. I do apologize, but I'll try to click the right buttons. We'll see how we go.
Welcome to my world.
I was going to say, but I didn't want to drop that in. But
it's okay. We'll talk about it later. Yeah.
I have a full and different appreciation now of
visual impairment.
I've got to tread carefully around this because I've got this feeling that whatever I'm going through is a slow but inexorable, improvable thing. In other words, it will probably return to what it once was.
Right.
But for this period of time, I'm struggling with all the usual things, and it was a moment in time. It happened, 1 hour after this thing. I was unable to use the internet, and it's been interesting. Let's put it that way. Yeah, really, really interesting.
Yeah. Weren't you telling me you just got a phone that was like 2 inches tall?
So, okay, I'll show you that in a minute. And then I'll tell you that I ordered that 2 weeks before the surgery. So I didn't know it was going to happen. But yeah, I'll show you that in a minute and then we'll have a laugh about that. But just to say that if you're joining us and you wish to contribute into the conversation, we love it. We absolutely love it when people do that. It makes the show a whole lot more interesting. Firstly, let's drop in the URL where you're best to go. And that's that one, which Steve is now putting his chin on. Yes, over there, Taco. Good job. Yeah, look everywhere and point in any direction you like. It's wpbuilds.com/live. If you go there, then you've got a couple of choices for comments. There's a Google, YouTube comment box, which is separate from the video. But then also, if you don't have a Google account, you can click on it just says live chat or something like that. There's a little button in there, and you can click on that. And it should invoke. You just type your name in and what have you, and we can get your comments in there. That's really nice. So wpbuilds.com/live. Send your friends, colleagues, relations, enemies, guinea pigs, bald eagles, monkeys, whatever you got going on, send them there. And hopefully they'll make some comments. Now then, in terms of actual comments, we've got a few that have come in. That's really nice. Marcus Burnett says, hello. Good morning, gentlemen. Can't wait to see how this goes. Yeah, we'll see how this goes. See if I can read the UI of this platform correctly. So far, so good. Do you know what? It's by muscle memory alone. I know that red button in the top corner is the one I had to click to go live, but I can't see the text. So it was a bit of a gamble when I actually clicked go live. This one, good morning. I feel like I should be there. Oh, you should, Michelle. Next time.
Yes.
And then Patricia, hello. Nice people. She said that's really, really.
Yeah, I mean, especially given yesterday was International Women's Day. Having an all-male panel.
Okay,
I'm sorry.
Yes. Oh, yeah. Oh dear. Yeah, that's. What can I say? I blame the booking system. that's the thing. Okay, let's put on the screen what we're going to be talking about. So, as always, it's a WordPress podcast, so we're going to be talking a lot about WordPress. The first thing to mention is just a few bits of housekeeping. Trying to keep the lights on over here. WP Builds is the website that we've got. If you want to put your email address into this little form, we'll send you 2 emails a week. The first one will be tomorrow, actually, when we wrap this thing up as a podcast episode. Most of the time, this content is consumed via audio. Very few sort of people watching it. We get quite a few watching it live, but most people are consuming it as audio. So that'll happen tomorrow. But then we'll also send you a podcast reminder on Thursday when we produce our typical regular podcast. Here's a list of the most recent ones. I had it because I was off. I haven't mentioned this one before, but I had Ian Svoboda on, who's got a really cool block called the Content Area block, and it enables you to have a second content area in your post or page content, which sounds like nothing, but it's actually really cool. Because normally you've got one piece of content, right? And that's it. That's all you can do. So everything has to go in there. Not anymore. Not with what Ian Svoboda's built. And it turns out it was way harder than he thought. But it'd just be, I'll just knock this thing up over the weekend. No. It was a little bit of a game changer for him. And then last week I had Ben Pines on. Ben used to be the CMO at Elementor right at the beginning when it went from no installs to 4 gazillion. Ben was the CMO over there, and now he's moved on. He's now doing his own sort of freelance services, offering marketing services, and trying to alert people to the dangers of AI, amongst other things, and how being the authentic you, he thinks, is going to be important in the future. In other words, show up as you rather than showing up as content written by AI.
Nathan, I got a bone to pick with you.
Please.
What do you notice about all these people on the podcast list here?
They are men. Is that what you're saying?
Yeah.
Look, we have to go all the way down until we get to Ray, and then we had Anne. So it's a while. Yeah, it's a fair point. It is a fair point. Can I say, in my defense, it's not much of a defense, but it's the defense I've got. If you reach out to me and I think you've got something worth talking about, I will put you on the podcast. There's absolutely no gatekeeping there whatsoever. But it just so happens that a lot of people that I get contacted with are the people who are on the podcast, and so that's the way it goes. I'm sorry.
Yeah, so I think there's a job for us to do, Steve, is that if we have amazing non-men around us, is that we send them to Nathan.
Send them to me. That's it. I will welcome everybody in and put them on the podcast. But yeah, fair point. I get this quite a lot, actually. I get quite a few emails saying the same thing. This show gets called out quite a bit for that. Okay. Michelle Frechette has been a godsend because she's organised loads of the wrangling of the guests in the past, and she's made great inroads into making that more distributed, for want of a better word, more diverse. But fair point. Anyway, that's the list of the most recent ones. And then just to say also, I did a podcast episode over at the Tavern with a lovely chap called Rob Ruiz, who has a product that I didn't know about. It's called WP Rig, and it's a WordPress theme development framework. He inherited it from Morten Rand Hendrickson when he stepped away from the WordPress space. I'm going to say 4 years ago or something like that. And he's taken it on. He's improved it a lot. So go and have a look. We haven't got time to delve into what a theme development framework is, but if you're interested, it's brilliant. It's very, very lightweight, and he's a very, very thoughtful individual. So I highly recommend listening to that. And then what we do each week, we ask the guests if they wish to contribute something. No compulsion, but if they wish to contribute something, I'm more than happy to raise it onto the screen. And so the first couple come from Taco. This is an AI related one, I guess. It's all about Claude Code. What's this one, Taco?
Yeah, so Claude Code is one of the big AI programming tools It's the thing that I've been using, and Claude Max is their upper tier. So a lot of tokens, aka you can build more and do more program, and they're offering it up for free for people who are active open source maintainers. Now, if you're using dark mode or if you're on the site, you can see that accessibility wise, they have a thing or two to learn because it's gray text on a black background. But you can sign up if you're an active contributor, a code contributor to an open source project, and they will give you 6 months of their top tier subscription for free. So, Nathan, I think your audio isn't working because...
Yeah, apologies. No, it's me. I accidentally clicked a...
Perfect.
This is comedy gold. This is going to happen
technical gremlins.
No, it's not. It's I can't see the correct button. And I was going to say there are some caveats around it. So you can't just rock up with a GitHub queue and sort of say, "Oh, look, I just invented a project on the open source sort of ethos." I think it's got to have 500 or more maintainers.
5,000 stars on GitHub.
Yeah.
Yes,
but
everyone.
Is that.
Yes, exactly. So everyone working actively on WordPress should probably qualify.
Right. Okay, that is interesting, and it's completely free, and it sounds like it's the top tier. As anybody listening to the show knows, I don't really use AI in any way, shape, or form. But my understanding from all the people out there is everybody's talking about Claude as the most credible offering out there at the minute. So,
yeah,
amazing.
I would say it changes by the week, but they're definitely in the top 3.
Yeah. Okay.
Yes.
Right. Okay. Well, certainly worth looking at. A nice 6-month boost to your productivity on the AI side of things. Bod, just to let you know, we can hear a lot of your breathing. I don't know if it's just me, but
maybe I should just stop breathing. Okay.
Yeah, but if you wouldn't mind, we're only 90 minutes, Bod, for goodness.
That was my contribution to your show. Breathing.
Right.
No,
it's fine.
It's so sorry.
It's totally fine now. It's just that you'd leaned right into your mic, I think.
All right,
we were enjoying the full depth of your breathing.
I'm sorry. Just cut it out in the editing room. Okay.
Yeah. We'll do. Okay, so that's the first one, and the second one, again from Taco, is this one, Jono Alderson.
Yes.
Formerly of Yoast, I think, but no longer with Yoast. Yeah.
Yeah. And I consider him a very good friend, and he has sensible things to say about the web. He's probably the most technical SEO out there, insanely smart. And he wrote a piece about how building a fast website should be, is the first thing that you should think of when you're building a website nowadays.
Yeah.
And he's calling it is the first competency test. So if you can build a fast website, you can build a website. It's basically what he's saying. But then in a very, I'd say, well-written article, definitely worth a read. And
yeah.
If you are a developer or employ developers, make sure they read them too.
I was lucky enough to catch Jono at WordCamp Whitley Bay probably about 2 years ago now, and Jono adopts this in all aspects of his life. I think speed is like something which Jono is good at in everything. He speaks at a pace as well, doesn't he? It's quite fast. Interesting. Yeah, but man, he was really interesting. Like you know, when you just are engaged by somebody, even if the content, because I confess the content wasn't exactly me, it was more sort of SEO related. So I was sort of tuning in a bit, in and out a little bit. But he's one of those people, like comedians or something, you know, they get on the stage and they begin and you're like, whoa, oh, he's an interesting guy. And I was captivated by his delivery.
Yeah. He's a little bit of a hero to me as well, and that is because every presentation that he gives is so well prepared.
Yeah, nice.
It's hundreds of hours of work going into a half an hour, 45 minutes presentation.
Wow.
And I think that he showed on several occasions that this is the bar that we should be hitting at WordCamps, and we're still not.
Okay. In terms of his delivery and his preparedness, and okay, interesting. There are a few people out there like that, aren't there? They just have something about them, and he's definitely one of them. So, this is johnoalderson.com. Like everything that we put on the screen today, it'll be linked in the show notes. I can't tell you exactly where in the show notes, but it'll be somewhere. One of the headings that we get. But there we go. There's Jono's piece all about speeding up being the first thing that you need to worry about on a website. And then we move over to contributions which came from Steve. This is going to sort of step a little bit maybe on some of the content that we've got later. But here's the first one. What's new in Gutenberg 22.6? Do you want to take the helm on this, Steve?
Yeah, it's kind of burying the lead a little bit. It has a very bland, anonymous release number.
Yeah.
This is Gutenberg 22.6, but the amount of stuff in this, it's basically WordPress 7.0.
Yep.
I honestly cannot remember anything like this in the WordPress space in many, many years. Just look at the table of contents on that post.
Yeah, let's go back to that quickly. Let me find it again. I've just clicked away from it, and there we go. There's the table of contents. There's like 10 things there, each of which is actually pretty significant. Do you know what's interesting, Steve? And I think I said this before we clicked record. Very often that table of contents may well be as big, but like, I don't know, 8 out of the 10 items will probably be something a bit unusual that don't affect me. Whereas so many of these are going to affect just regular editors and people just, logging into their WordPress website, creating a piece of content, hitting publish and getting out. Not necessarily the developer side of things. And so it's going to be, this one will be really impactful for just normal users of WordPress, using it as a sort of blogging platform, for want of a better word. So were there some items on here that you wanted to mention in particular? I've highlighted a few if you don't.
Oh, where do we start? I mean, probably we can go around the group and each one of us could pick out a major feature here. I guess my hot take on this is that I think AI came along at a perfect time for WordPress, because we had, obviously, after Portland, we had like a year of no releases and things were kind of stagnant. And AI seems to have given everyone an enormous kick up the butt in terms of productivity, in terms of maybe increased competition, in terms of increased excitement, people getting really interested in coding again after perhaps have lost some of the passion for it. And you can see WordPress accelerating again after that kind of lost year. For me personally, I'd probably choose revisions, the visual version of, it's a bit of a tongue twister, the visual version of revisions. But there's so much in here. This is basically WordPress 7.0 disguised as a point release for Gutenberg.
Can I actually just call out, and this is a bit of a thanks to you. If you follow Steve I follow Steve, most likely Blue Sky, I think is where your stuff comes to me. I'm trying to use other platforms a little bit less, but Steve does a really great job of writing up what's happening in the WordPress space, and I think filters out all the noise. So whenever I see a post that you've written, I sort of delve into it, and you manage to get the stuff somehow that I'm genuinely really interested in. It largely is to do with, the publishing workflow, given what you do, I suppose. But go and follow Steve on Blue Sky or wherever he can be found, and there's 3 or 4 things a week, but they're totally worth reading every single time. So,
well, I haven't done that for the last 2 or 3 years, but what's coming out of WordPress core recently has got me excited again.
Yeah. Well, I'm chuffed to bits. It's really great. I'll just mention the few things that I'd highlighted. So here's the first one. In editor revisions for visual sort of change tracking, and you can imagine what this is. It says browser post revisions in the editor shows a color-coded visual diff between the selected revision and its predecessor. Now, what's curious about this is it's not just revisions based upon like, oh, this bit of text changed. It's things like this block was removed, or this block was updated, or this block was moved or deleted. And there's color coding for it. And it kind of feels like the sort of thing that once you've been in there for 3 minutes and had a bit of a poke around, you'll get it. And it largely, you're sort of on the lookout for sort of either green or red bits poking into the UI. It's very hard to see on this post actually, but you can see there's sort of a hint of maybe here something changed, and you can see there's a little border around this image which is green, so something about that changed. The icon block is now, you've now got an icon block, and you can, there's a curated library. I don't think you can use your own SVGs, but there's a curated library that you can use. There's a navigation overlay coming, which I think is based off the Ollie menu. I think it's called the Ollie menu navigation plugin. And I've used it and I really like it. It basically, you create the navigation that you want inside of Gutenberg, and then you assign it to the, you know, the hamburger icon or something. And then from that moment on, when somebody presses that icon, this overlay comes up, and it doesn't have to look like an overlay. It could just almost look like a fresh page, or, you know, the UI's been taken over. So that's really cool. Client-side media processing, meaning that you upload a, I don't know, PNG, but you want to make it smaller. It's all done by the browser now, as opposed to going to some server and dealing with it and then sending it back, which is really great. And obviously real-time collaboration, which is something that Steve's very keen on learning about. The gallery, if you use the WordPress regular gallery, it's feature poor, shall we say. But now you can navigate with it. Now you can go left and right and things like that, which is quite nice. And that's where I ended. They were the highlights for me. So Taco or Bod, anything you want to say on that one?
Yeah, I think some of these already made it in the 7.0 release, or all of them. I'm not entirely sure, but I saw some of it, and especially navigation overlays is something I'm looking for.
It's really great. It's really, really lovely. I mean, it turns it into this visual design. You just design it somewhere with blocks, buttons, links, whatever you like, however you like, and then you just assign it, and it works. And little ding dong in my ears tells me that we're going to be joined by our 5th guest. So let's, first of all, before we go anywhere else, let's introduce Dan. Where's Dan? Dan's all the way over there. Woo! There's like 2 people. I've got to go through some people to get to Dan. How you doing, Dan?
Good. How are y'all?
Yeah, good. Nice that your tech setup works out the box, which is
it was
really
troubled
great
this morning.
Yeah, don't worry. I'm really pleased that you can make it. I'll just interrupt the program to give Dan his bio. He was on a couple of weeks ago, but we'll do it again. Excuse me, I'm eating raisins. When Dan Knauss is not wasting ministry time and paper, he is likely practicing heating engineering without a license, tampering with supply dots, and recklessly creating suspicion in the greater public. Nothing to do with WordPress there.
Absolutely. No. Just open source hacking. Yeah.
Well, we appreciate you dropping in. I know that you had sort of overlapping things that you needed to get on with. I'm very grateful for you coming on. That's brilliant.
Thanks.
We've just got through a couple of the top line items from the show notes, so we'll just sort of crack on. But I will mention a couple of comments, which is really nice. Firstly, hat tip to Michelle Frechette. She was saying that she did a 7-hour live stream with women from all over the world yesterday for the Underrepresented in Tech project that she's involved in, and said it was amazing. Taco replied that sounds amazing. And then hello folks from James. Hi James, nice to have you with us. Patricia is joining us. I think we've mentioned Patricia already actually, but the 7.0 beta 3 was released on the 3rd of March. We'll come to that in a minute. And we're at WC Nice's contributor day. Oh, what now? That where you are now? That's great.
So I think last weekend.
Oh,
or last week.
I was going to say, stick it on the big screen. Go to the main stage and put this on. See how that goes down. And she says, and it was wonderful to do it with JB Aldress, who's a core committer in person. Oh, that's lovely. That's really nice. Did I record a nice show for WC Nice? No, I didn't. Yeah, no, that's a good idea.
It's
I
such
like
a
it.
missed opportunity.
I
Nathan.
really want. See, missed opportunity. Yeah, some guy called Taco wrote that.
I know.
Okay, so okay, let's move on. So that's what's new in Gutenberg 22.6. But Steve's stuff keeps coming. You wanted to mention this one, Steve, which is coming on the screen now. There we go. Advanced Professional WordPress Developer Certification out of VIP, by the looks of things, no less. What did you want here?
Oh, I didn't so much have particular feedback on this so much as to throw it out to the group that Automatic seems to be moving towards some kind of official certification. And I know this can be controversial. We went through this. I used to do Drupal, say 8-10 years ago, and they did a similar thing at the time. Acquia had a certification program, and
Joomla too.
We were training for it. We did a lot of classes, helping people train for the exam, and I don't think it has a lot of benefit for people like us who are in the community, but it tends to work out nicely for big companies that want to adopt the platform. I think it helped bring on like companies like Accenture into the Drupal world. And my guess is that's probably what Automatic is hoping for, that say you have some massive agency that doesn't really know what they're doing in the WordPress world. If they can suddenly find 30 people who are WordPress certified, it makes it much easier to bring them on board to maybe sell an RFP. It seems nicely rolled out. I know some people will love it, some people will hate it, but I'm probably glad, I guess, that Automatic are taking charge of it and running it. At least it's kind of officially it's a...
Yeah. I'll just read out the URL because it's pithy enough to get into the record. It's learn.wpvip.com / certification. So for those, go on, Steve.
There's a whole LMS in there. They've developed a pretty nice LMS, and there's a lot of, they've got great docs. I think anyone can get in there and go through some of the free training. It covers a lot of ground. There's developer stuff, there's some really good security things, and things that are less developer too. So there's really a lot of good stuff hidden back there.
Yeah. For those
what is the
listeners? Go on, sorry, Bod. Go on.
What is the downside of this kind of certification? Is there a downside?
No, not that I can think of.
I can't. Well, Steve said something that made me ask that question.
This is kind of trying to sort of think of other people's criticism of this. I think it would be a little bit of gatekeeping, perhaps, like the cost. It's $250 or more. Some thoughts of who gets to control who's officially WordPress certified.
Right.
Okay. Yeah.
Okay. What it means, and right.
Yeah.
Okay. But it's mostly upside, more upside than down, from what I can tell.
Sure.
I mean, there's more benefit to it than,
I think so. I think that probably 90% of the WordPress community can just kind of go along its way and completely ignore these exams. But in the enterprise space, this may come in handy. I saw a lot of posts on LinkedIn from agency people who are having their teams take this test.
Okay. Oh, that's interesting. Okay, so it does have some buy-in from those larger agencies. Okay. There's a lot going on.
If you work with VIP, it makes sense. They have their own coding standards, which are great, but they're different. Some agencies have their own riff on that. So sometimes people have different opinions on the importance of a particular standard, and I don't know. I think it's good that we have them. Period, and that is becoming a little bit more clarified, and certainly to get things in the repo. Now there's a minimum standard for that. So this is sort of a similar process there, and I think that's always a good thing.
It really seems like in the WordPress space, there's a lot of attention on education in all levels at the minute. And some of it's a bit overlapping and confusing to me, especially on the community side. I'm sometimes a little bit confused by which acronym stands for which bit and how does it fit in. Is that in person? Is that like a after work kind of event? But yeah, here's another piece adding into that jigsaw. So, okay.
Yeah,
right.
And I think what Steve said is the same that I saw as the biggest criticism that I've seen is that it's more gatekeeping by automatic controlling yet another piece of who can be WordPress, who can say that they're good at WordPress. I'm not sure if that's a thing. I think the parallel was drawn to PHP, where Zend has their own certification for PHP, where the biggest difference is that they actually call it the Zend certification instead of a more general PHP certification.
Okay. Yeah.
And Automatic decided, or VIP decided, I'm not sure which company of Automatic, but decided not to do that and to just make it advanced WordPress. So I think that's the biggest thing that I've heard online. I've yet to see if that's really a problem.
Does have you've encountered that little bit of pushback against those kind of things? Then the naming of it and the fact that it it's obviously using that trademark in a way which presumably they're entitled to do, but obviously people are not entitled to use it in that way. So yeah, I can see why you would raise that. Yeah, okay.
I think there's some sensitivity around Matt drawing more power towards himself, given everything that's been going on for the last couple of years. So I think that's mainly the cause. If this had come out 4 or 5 years ago, I think response would have been overwhelmingly positive.
Okay. I'll link to it again. I'll just pop it on the screen quickly. You can see the URL there if you're able to. It's learn.wpvip.com. You can go and check it out. And Steve, thank you for raising that. And there's one more which comes from Steve, I believe. This is so interesting. Like, this whole story is interesting to me. So I had Nick Hamsey on the podcast a little while ago. Nick is wild. Nick is such an interesting character. If you've ever met Nick, I mean, I've never met him. I've met him for an hour and a quarter or whatever whilst we recorded. But he is a out and out character. He's really interesting. And he was playing with AI a lot and making a lot of projects. That's why we haven't had him on the podcast. But he did make the point that he's quite close with Matt Mullenweg. He's quite close with Matt, and it would appear that he's had a conversation with Matt saying, look, the WordPress.org repository is not servicing the community in a way that it might do. Will you? I'm imagining this conversation, by the way. I have no knowledge as to what happened, but it feels like it might have gone something like this. Can I put together something whereby we feature plugins in the repository to gain some notoriety for plugins that are slipping under the radar, so not the familiar ones that we're all familiar with. You log into WordPress.org and you see Jetpack and you see Yoast and all the ones that you normally see, but there's thousands that just sit under the radar, never get mentioned. And Matt, by all accounts, has given the nod to this, and this project has launched. There's now going to be a featured plugins section. It's already going, I understand, and there are some caveats around it. The first thing is, which we scroll right to the bottom, it's being curated entirely by Nick. So Nick is deciding which of the plugins he wishes to build up. Got to start somewhere, I guess. Maybe that'll change in the future. We will see. Oh, here it is, this bit here. Plugin selection is currently handled by Nick. The process and governance around selections will be reassessed as the experiment develops. But the criteria are as follows. If you want to be discovered in this way, you must abide by these certain things. Have less than 10,000 active installs. You need to have been listed in the directory for less than a year, so less than 12 months. No open security stuff vulnerabilities and what have you, compatible with the latest major release of WordPress, and to have been updated at some point within the last 6 months. Then you'll be sort of categorized in one of 3 ways: technical standards, ecosystem fit, developer engagement. That's another thing they're going to sort of push you through to figure out who's where. And then if you qualify and Nick picks you, then you'll get featured. Now, Ray at the repository, sign up for the repository, by the way, cracking newsletter. She did a bit of a deeper dive and talked to some people who have already been the recipients of this first round. And one of them, let me just pick out the one, see if I can find them. I thought I had them somewhere highlighted. Yeah, these are the ones that got the first nod. These are the ones that are going to go for the first 2 weeks. Ollie Menu Designer, Internet Archive, Wayback Machine, Link Fixer. Gosh, that's a mouthful. MailerPress, Gallery Burge, Gallery Block, Opt-in Craft, Block Responsive, Easy Tabs Block, and Make It Easy Slider. She then draws the conclusion that this is a cracking experiment because the Ollie Menu Designer seems to have had a big spike in their active install base, doubling basically. So maybe this is working. So, okay, first of all, do you think it's a neat idea? And second of all, well, I don't really have a second of all. That'll do. Let's go with that. Any thoughts on this?
It seems very helpful that the guidelines are so clear. I think you might have to hit the back button to show the guidelines again, but
let me go back. There, these bits here.
Yeah, under 10,000, so it's got to be an up and coming plugin. Less than 12 months old, updated regularly. Bang, bang, bang. That should clear a lot of the noise around. I just joined the Slack channel while you were doing that. The Slack channel in the WordPress core, there's a featured plugin Slack channel.
Yeah.
And there's a few people in there suggesting, can you put my plugin on there?
This is Nick's new life.
Probably. But because the criteria are clear, and I think they're all block-based as well, from what I can see.
Okay, so far, block-based. Is that coincidence, do you think, as opposed to anything else? I know that it's Nick's thing. I know that Nick enjoys playing with blocks, so it may be that there's a thing there. I'm not sure. But yeah, it would appear the only slightly strange bit is the fact that Nick has the ultimate criteria. You know, he gets the nod, but you got to start somewhere. You know, if you have to build this entire edifice of scaffolding and public accountability, that's the whole thing. Whereas you could just say, Nick, will you just decide for the next few months? And Nick goes, yeah, all right, I'll do it. If we trust Nick, this is going to be a good experiment. I hope Nick isn't on the receiving end of people saying, you know, why haven't you picked me for the last 6 months? Come on, it's my turn, and hope it doesn't, you know, turn out badly for him. I'm sure it won't.
And if it's only 2 weeks per plugin, no big deal. So he chooses an incorrect plugin once, it rotates off in 2 weeks.
Yep. Yeah, it's a great idea as far as I can see. And obviously, if you are Mike McAllister, who runs Ollie, this first experiment has proven that it's great. I do wonder, just one little caveat, I wonder if the reason it's been successful is because it's new and talked about, or whether it will continue to have that sort of lasting effectiveness when the press coverage is gone, if you know what I mean. Because I wonder if at the minute everybody's going, oh, look, new tab, I'll go and have a look at that. In the same way that I'm now immune, if I go to do a Google search and I see I basically don't see the ads. I just scroll past them. I've learned the muscle memory of sort of scrolling past them. I wonder if the same may happen over there, or whether people will actually go actively looking for it. So anyway, Taco, Bud, Dan, if you've got anything to add on that.
I love it. I think it's a great idea because for one thing, you're probably opening up, you're probably making this, providing more opportunity for new developers too. You know, people that have just never done anything in the WordPress community. I think this is probably a good way to get them into it.
It's a good tie-in for students and meetups and some of those kind of entry points to get people new. Yeah, absolutely. Show them a pathway to getting involved, getting something in there, and that it won't just be a drop in the bucket necessarily.
Yeah.
You think?
Oh, sorry.
So Yeah, I think because the featured plugins is usually, I think, the first screen you see when you click on add plugin in WordPress. So it definitely is visible, and so I'm not surprised that it has a positive effect. I'm not so sure if it's enough to surface, and it's a great start. He wrote a post about it,
He did.
I think
Yeah.
3 months ago, 4 months ago, and
Yeah.
I'm very happy to see that he was allowed to implement this and actually do it. I think he's good enough a judge to say this is a plugin that we should be promoting. So I'm quite happy that he's doing it, that he's taking on this task. I'm curious why the less than 12 months, because that's quite short. If you realize that at this moment we have over 400 plugins in the queue waiting for review. Now there's 8 or 10 plugins in the featured plugins, I think, times 26 periods of 2 weeks a year means that we can highlight about a few hundred a year.
Yeah. Okay,
and
that's
we
an
add
interesting point.
so many more new plugins. So it's always going to be a fraction, but it's better than nothing, and it's better than what we had where featured was sort of a fixed list, I think.
It'll be that's a really interesting point, like the calculus of how many. So I wonder if that number will go up, like, to 12 or 16 or something like that. But the also, it's just occurred to me that is quite a strange criteria, like under 12 months. Like, let's say, for example, I've got a really underwhelmingly installed plugin, but I know it's really credible, but I've been hacking away at it for the last 18 months. I'm out the picture, aren't I, for this? That hadn't really occurred to me, but that makes sense. Yeah. So featured is actually newly featured.
It's basically new plugins.
It is, isn't it? Okay, that's interesting. I wonder if that needs a bit of a name change or something. Yeah. Okay, well spotted, Taco.
What would you do? Featured by Nick, so it's a legit name.
Yeah.
And so would you make it for 18 months? 2 years?
Do you know what? My gut reaction would be have no limit. It's the install base, really, that's the point. It's the quality of it and the install base. If it's good, but the marketing has been poor, but it deserves attention, that's really the only criteria. It's like, if you can sort of detect that it doesn't have what it could have because maybe their marketing budget is minimal. Yeah. I don't think age matters, actually. That's...
Well,
I think it would be nice if
you want to make sure it's maintained. That's
a good point.
Important.
Yeah. Go down.
You could do something like have them if there was a major release in the last year. But I'm thinking of the stuff I like to find surface more would be community plugins, the kind of that classification of there's not really a commercial model. Maybe it's like a really simple single use thing. Maybe it's been around a long time and it's not. They're not adding like a whole kitchen sink level of features, but what's really deserving sometimes, fits into that category. Or even more interesting is someone reviving an older code base. There's a lot of interesting opportunity now.
Oh yes,
to go back and bring something back or modernize someone's work that's maybe been abandoned or obsolete. So. There's someone doing that. I think that's a really good project.
There is. I'm actually supposed to meet him today. Yes, I know you're doing
Oh, good. I was just chatting with him. Yeah, Gerasimos.
Oh, you too. Yes.
There you go. That's nice. So I think reading the room, what we're saying is great idea. It'd be interesting to see where it goes. We've made a start. This is fascinating. Let's see where we go. Just one thought to add in. I don't know if Nick is going to be guided by this philosophy, but when I spoke to him, he was very much into quirky stuff. His whole thing was like, really wacky, for want of a better word, leaning into the wacky side. I wonder if that's going to be a part of his process, filtering through this. Given the list that we saw on the repository, it doesn't feel like that's a prism that he's adopting, because none of I don't know many of those, but the ones that I do know about, they don't come into the wacky bucket. They come into the actually really useful bucket. So maybe that's going to be more of the criteria.
I think, and I think that would be the biggest win for WordPress if it's the useful stuff that people need that they don't know exists.
Yeah. Okay, interesting. Well, thank you, Nick.
I'd be a little concerned that what might get overlooked then are those really good classic single-use things that transform how the admin works, that have more of an architectural value to them that sometimes people overlook. Those are cool.
Go on. Sorry, Dan. Apologies.
No, go ahead.
I was just going to say, I hope that Nick can carry on in the way that he's obviously got fired up to carry on. Let's see if it keeps going and that it bears fruit. Obviously, Nick, you're going to be disappointing some people, but making other people incredibly happy. And I suppose there has to be some balance of that. And but it looks like the experiment's working. If we just take the Ollie metric, you've doubled their install base in one fell swoop. Although, as we might come to later, maybe there's another reason for that. Oh no, we did come to it. The Ollie menu designer is kind of what's coming into 7 anyway. So maybe that's part of the whole piece. Right. Okay. All right, let's just press on with a few other pieces. First one is just to say, if you didn't know already, WordPress 7 is just around the corner. And if you are minded to do it, now is the time to test what is probably the last few iterations of the software. 7.0 beta 3 is available, and go and check it out. Here we go. The release date is scheduled for the 9th of April, so exactly 1 month away. And if you're not sure how to test your WordPress install, there's always extensive notes. It's dead easy nowadays. It's seriously simple to test the latest version of WordPress. And you too can be looking at the features that Steve brought to our attention. Okay. Right. Then this is just another article. I won't dwell on it because we mentioned it already. But this is about that customable navigation that Steve mentioned earlier. If you want to understand how it works from sort of like a technical point of view, and if you're looking at this broadcast, you can see I'm showing code on the screen, so there's no way we're going to be able to get into it. But if you want to understand how it works and how you can implement it and modify it and make it so that you can do more than just click buttons in the UI, and whatever the UI allows is the limitations on it, this is the piece for you. It's on make.wordpress.org. It's by Dave Smith, and it's called Customizable Navigation Overlays in WordPress 7.0. So you can go and check that out. I'm guessing nobody's got anything to add to that, so I shall just move on. Yep. Okay, good. This is nomad.blog. So it's Anne McCarthy's blog, where she has spent a little bit of time talking about some of the things that have come in terms of notes. So notes is now really the word for, Google Docs style collaborative editing. That seems to be the word that we've gone with. Whether it'll stay that way, I'm not entirely sure. But Anne she shows a few pieces that never made it into 7.0, which she thought was, a bit of a shame. Well, not a bit of a shame. She doesn't say that. It is a bit of a shame, but there's just a few things that never made it in. But so she's basically showing in these little videos that you can click into some of the new bits and pieces that you might see in a future version of WordPress, all around collaborative editing and how the UI works and how you can make things visible or invisible, how you can filter on things and what have you. And we are basically getting to Google Docs. That seems to be where we're heading at a very rapid rate, a much faster rate than I thought we were going to. And so anyway, she shows how to filter options in the notes panel. So resolved, unresolved, all that kind of thing. How to show or hide the notes canvas. So you can see a list of everything, which means you've got to scroll, or you can just sort of hover on the bits that are visible for the block that you're actually currently working on and stuff like that. So anyway, Steve, maybe I'll go to you first if this is anything of interest to you. If not, I'll maybe just move on.
Yeah, I hadn't seen this actually. It's I think they have a ton of ideas for improving the notes comments feature. The GitHub repo for Gutenberg is full of them. It's awesome to see. I honestly never thought. That's wrong. I've been following the real-time collaborative editing for probably 6 years now. And there were definitely a lot of points when I thought there was too much of a technical challenge to get it done where you can run this stuff on like Bluehost. No, edit that part out. Cheap hosting.
Host, a host, any host. Yeah, affordable hosting. Let's go with that.
Yes, low, cheap hosting. Under shared hosting is what I should say. It's just such an incredible technical challenge to provide collaborative editing on shared hosting. And I'm in awe of the fact that they seem to have got it done.
What's kind of interesting that didn't really occur to me, because I'm very rarely in a Google Doc where more than 1 or 2 people will be contributing. So that little panel on the right-hand side, which, the little sidebar, for want of a better word, which consumes the comments, usually that never fills up more than the space available. But what this demonstration shows, because this obviously maybe Anna's deliberately just overfed it with comments, is what the heck happens when you've got like 8 collaborators, each creating like 4 comments, how that UI suddenly becomes a dreadful mess, because you're no longer at the thing that you're looking at. You've uncollapsed all the comments. You've had to scroll right to the bottom, and suddenly the piece of content that you want it to be associated with is right out of the viewport. So it's just kind of figuring out ways to deal with things like that. Like, I don't know if you can see the screen here. We've got this little collapsed menu where it's 27 more replies, and you can click on it and open it up. You can actually invoke a little. If I go to this video here, I think it's this one. You can invoke a UI element, which kind of just, there we go. You enable all notes, and this little kind of overlay appears, and they're all just gathered in that one handy interface. It's just really nice. It's really well thought through, I think.
If you're in there with multiple people, it will actually show your face kind of bobbing around on the note. So, if I'm editing a document with, say, Nathan and Bud and Taco and Dan, I can see like a little Nathan head on the line.
Yeah.
And a little Taco head. The UI is very nicely done.
It's definitely, it's leaning into a lot of the Gutenberg, the Google Doc stuff. And actually, if you go to the bottom, you can see right here that there's, they're referencing how Google does it in Google Docs. They've obviously got Google Docs as the sort of poster child of this kind of scenario, and they're aiming at it. I'm sorry, Bod, I interrupted.
Yeah, I'm just going to ask a question, which is maybe, I don't know what it is, but I'm going to ask it anyway. And it's sort of being the skunk at the party, but how much of the world really needs this feature, this collaborative notes and real time and all that? Don't major agencies already have this kind of stuff worked into their systems? And I mean, I understand the why of this from the WordPress standpoint, but I'm just thinking, like, isn't this kind of late for the world?
Yeah, I do know what you mean. Can I drop my pennies worth in?
Please, that's what I'm asking.
I can't, in my WordPress setup, I don't suppose I'll ever use it, because typically it's me going in.
Sure.
However, I think you can't have a modern interface without this stack in it if you're wanting to make the thing available to a modern audience. Like, my kids have grown up in it. I remember the first time I saw a Google Doc with somebody else's icon moving around, and I literally, like, this is how nerdy, I literally was like, whoa, I spat out liquid. That's the sort of level I was at. It was like, what the heck is going on? This is so unreal. That's the minimum amount that you have to have for my kids. It's like, what do you mean we can't both edit? What? Why not?
Okay.
So I think
that's like the cool, but that's the coolness factor. I mean, if somebody, I don't know what the percentage of like solopreneurs or singletons or whatever, like people like me, Nathan, others, that we really don't need the collaborative part of WordPress.
But Steve has an entire business.
Right.
So Steve has an entire business built on top of exactly people who do need collaborative sort of complicated editing scenario. So I'm going to hand this to Steve.
Yeah.
Well, I'd admit that what we do is niche, and Dan, you've also worked in a company that sells a collaborative editing tool as well.
Right.
honestly, Bud, I'd probably admit that it is somewhat not niche. I'm really struggling for words today. I'll try not to offend someone.
It's an enterprise feature, but this is better than Google Docs comments. Like, for people who do use it, there's this opens doors. And with AI more and more coming into the picture, how many people are really going to be the single author, single admin of a site when you bring in agents in there?
Yeah.
So this isn't just people. It's an audit trail of whatever user agent has gone in and done something.
Okay, so can I do AI prompts with this?
Not yet.
I know,
but it's not going to take long.
Imagine.
No.
Yeah.
Well, so what I would imagine is that you have something like a Grammarly or another tool that would check your writing, and instead of giving you some generic feedback at the bottom, it will tell you, in this paragraph, this is what you need to change. And you can do that for text, for images, for, hey, you've used this image on 4 other pages. Are you aware? A little note. Stuff like that, I think.
Sorry, Taco, in a breathtaking example of like getting ahead of what we're going to talk about, here is Jeffrey Paul's article from this week with exactly the feature you've just described. So this is the AI experiments 0.4.0. So it's 5th of March, a few days ago. That exact thing is there. Generate review notes. So you get the AI.
Okay.
And you just click a single button and it goes through Grammarly style, if you want it to be the Grammarly style kind of thing, and it will paragraph by paragraph give you improvements, and it will do it in the notes UI. So I should probably run this video forward. So I'll just go towards the end here. Basically, what happens in this video is he's dropped in a load of, let's call it lorem text. And then he's gone to the menu and he's clicked generate review notes and click the button. And then you wait a little while. Most of this video is actually just waiting for the little progress bar to update itself. And then right towards the end, it says there are 3 suggestions added. So it's for the whole article, it's suggested 3 things. And then you can see it's put them. I've just gone past that bit in the video. There they are. They've dropped inside the notes UI. Very cool. It says grammar. Yeah. So we know this is a grammar-related piece of AI updating, but it could have been anything. It could have been rewrite required, or I don't know, change the. I don't honestly know. Presumably, given that this article also talks about images being generated in the media library and in the editor, maybe there's going to be options for that as well. But so Taco. I don't know if you'd read that or no. Sorry, I'm sorry to interrupt.
No, that's absolutely fine. I mean, this is AI based, heuristics based. This is what we've built in Progress Planner already. So it will show you little to-do notes on specific paragraphs, exactly to get you to work on your site and to better help you do the things that make a difference.
So what I missed, I'm sorry, Taco, but what I missed, and what I didn't understand was that this new feature is not just for humans collaboration, but it's for AI collaboration with a human.
Yeah, and or any plugin or tool can annotate a paragraph now.
Okay.
So think of the usefulness of just getting an audit periodically, accessibility, or your code samples are using deprecated functions, or you need to update this documentation, and this is I've already done it.
Okay.
Yeah. But really interesting that it's kind of like it's just in a new spot in the UI. It's this floating spot in the UI which binds itself to the content. If you've got a paragraph here, the little piece of commentary about it will be bound to it in space. Yeah. And that, I just think it's really interesting. So as an example, the Yoast SEO plugin with its traffic lights, the traffic lights are just there. They're just in this little part of the UI somewhere, but it's not about that particular paragraph or this particular paragraph. And it sounds like Progress Planner is sort of taking that work on and giving you helps at the point that you might need it. And so it's that. But also, the curious thing from my point of view is, you get a default, don't you? In a workflow, you get a default workflow and you stick with it when you realize it's working. And so let's pick a publication which has got a very large circulation in the tech space. Let's go with TechCrunch. Huge publication built on WordPress. I imagine at the moment their editorial workflow is fairly clumsy and probably something along the lines of Google Docs. And then finally, once we've got that all perfectly tied off and we know that article is right, somebody's job is to copy and paste that in to the WordPress block editor and then finally, give it a once over and then click publish. I can see a publishing house like that fully adopting Gutenberg and cutting out the Google Docs style thing in a heartbeat once everybody's on board and that they realize it's shippable and it works, because then one tool is better than two tools.
Yeah. I manage the website for my sports club, and I work with, how do I put this nicely, slightly less tech savvy people.
Like me.
No way, but you'd be their hero, absolutely. No, they really struggle to either get to Google Docs or get to the website. So, and then they don't understand the relation. And someone says, "I'm going to write a news post," and is doing it in Docs, and someone else is writing it in Word and sending around a file, and
right.
It's a mess. If I can consolidate all of that conversation into a single tool, and they only have one place to go, that would make my life so much easier.
Yeah.
There is a plan, I believe, to put this into the theme editor as well. So it'd be a kind of an atrium style. Like you're designing the site, you leave comments like, "This is the wrong color for the header." So I believe this comment system will break outside of the post editor and go elsewhere in WordPress too.
Okay, so not just for like semi-publish, half-publish, pre-publish workflows, could be part of the design workflow of building out.
The site
that's really interesting.
That makes sense since everything is block editor. Basically.
Yeah,
that makes sense. Yeah.
Okay.
Wow.
Anyway, it's growing. It's getting robust, and there's certainly a lot to look at. As always, I will link in the show notes to both the pieces that I just showed, the Jeffrey Paul one and the Nomad blog on the Anne McCarthy one. But there's a lot to look at, and this collaborative editing thing is coming on at a much faster rip than I thought it was going to. Right. Okay. Couple of, actually 4, I think, pieces now coming from. First one is on the repository website. I'm going to say like a year ago, maybe it was slightly more than a year ago. I can't exactly remember. The FAIR, so the Federated and Independent Repositories, that's the acronym, project was launched. In fact, look, are you there? Is that you, Taco?
Yes, that's me.
There you are, in the picture. On the repository site, the FAIR project was launched, and the idea was that it would be a swap out, a direct swap out for WordPress.org. You'd be able to install a plugin in your WordPress repository, and WordPress.org would no longer be, let's go with the word necessary. You could use a different repository built on top of AspirePress, if my understanding is correct.
Yes.
And there were some heavy hitters in the WordPress community associated with the project, which gave it a lot of clout when it began. However, during the course of the last week, 2 of those heavy hitters have decided to step away. That would be the ones in question are Joost de Volk, the person, not the company, and Karim Marucci. And but the project goes on. But first of all, your thoughts on the main piece in question, Taco?
Yeah, so I'm slightly biased here because I'm basically on both sides. So Joost de Volk is my direct colleague, and I've seen how much time, energy, and money he spent on FAIR, and I'm part of the technical steering committee for FAIR, so I'm involved myself as well. And it hurts to see that we have an ecosystem, a community that is so big, and where we see companies spend insane amount of money to sponsor WordCamps, and that apparently they're not willing to spend that money on the WordPress project itself, whether it be WordPress, which is what Matt has been saying for quite a while. Hey, we need companies to invest more, otherwise we're not going to make it. But also not in a project that would future-proof parts of WordPress, make it compliant with GDPR and upcoming legislation. And I am heavily disappointed that the hosting companies in our ecosystem, which typically are the companies with the deepest pockets, let's be fair, is that they're not willing to step up and give this a proper shot by funding the initiative. Luckily, we're used to not being funded for the open source work that we do in WordPress. And so the project itself isn't gone. The technical project exists, stays around, but it's taking a little bit of a shift. At CloudFest in 2 weeks from now, just over 2 weeks, there will be a hackathon project to bring FAIR to Typo 3, which is another open source CMS. And the Typo 3 community has been looking at what we were building for WordPress and said, this is what we want for Typo 3. And so we're going to sort of it was always meant to grow beyond WordPress itself. But right now it means that the focus is entirely shifting from WordPress and the WordPress community to the Typo 3 community. And I hope that we can onboard many Typo 3 developers, because they also have an amazing developer community. And that FAIR has a very long and prosperous future, and will hopefully at some point also be seen by the WordPress community and the companies with deep pockets as valuable, and we might return and get that funding and get a board under the Linux Foundation.
So
Taco,
the piece. Sorry, Bod, I'll just say a couple of things.
Yeah, go ahead, please.
Thank you.
It's your show.
Thank you.
No problem.
The piece was, it does mention hosting quite a lot, and if I'm paraphrasing this correctly, step in, Taco, and save me from myself. But it feels that that's the fulcrum of the reason why Joost, the person, and Karim have stepped away. They didn't feel that there was literally buy-in from hosting companies in particular, because it was felt that they were really the crucial part of the success of that. Because obviously, if let's say that there was a giant hosting company X, who has billions of dollars in revenue a year and all of that, if they were to put FAIR in, that would obviously be a bit of a game changer, but that did not happen. So questions then, I suppose, from Karim and Joost about, well, why didn't that happen? What was the hold up? And then eventually, I guess, some degree of exasperation. However, as Taco was at pains to point out, the project isn't just about those two individuals, although they were very crucial at getting it off the ground and making it popular. And there are 3 articles which Taco brought to bear from people who are still involved, and I presume have the intention to maintain their involvement, and they are as follows. We got this first one, which is, I believe this is Mika Epstein's blog. Is that right? Have I got that right?
Yeah. So all 3 the blogs are from the current leads of the technical project. So this is Mika Epstein. Yeah. So
we've got Mika Epstein. She's written up, she's called hers FAIR, successes, lessons, and what's next. And again, a long, detailed write-up of what's going on. The next one, Carrie Dills. building fair and letting go of what could have been. So again, sort of similar but different slightly. And then finally, I've actually forgotten who this one was. Apologies.
Ryan McHugh.
Thank you, of course. Yeah, Ryan McHugh. I guess you might label him as the chief technical architect of the project. I'm not sure if that's entirely true, but
he's one of the technical masterminds.
One of the technical people. Again, so there we go. So Ryan's shorter take on that piece. So all of those will be linked in the show notes if you want to go and have a read. Taco, anything you want to add on that before we let the others in on it?
I just hope that at some point the WordPress community at large is going to realize that this is what's needed for the upcoming legislation in Europe, and that there might be more attention for fair again. But meanwhile, I know that we have some dedicated people who continue to build an awesome project.
Okay. Thank you. And the focus for now, moving over in the next couple of weeks at CloudFest to Typo 3. So we'll see what happens over there. So Bod, Steve, Dan, anything? Maybe Bod first. And I think you had something to say and I interrupted. Sorry.
Well, I'm just wondering how you could characterize how would you characterize or could you generalize the non-participation of these major hosting companies in the FAIR initiative? I mean, did Yoast and did they meet stiff resistance? Hey, we don't want to upset the apple cart. I mean, can you characterize some of that? So, because this is a game-changing upset the apple cart, to the ecosystem.
Yeah. So everything I'll say about it is hearsay. So the best thing I can probably do is send you to the blog posts that Yoast and Kareem wrote about it.
Yeah.
We should probably add them to the show notes as well.
Yep.
They explained a little bit more in detail the responses they got, but in very short, as Nathan summarized, they were not willing to commit financially and, well, politically, if you will.
Yeah. Okay. It's not a matter of they don't have the money. It's the politics. They don't want to. Yeah, they don't want to go in that direction.
Probably.
They don't. There's an unwillingness to invest in infrastructure from hosts, including their own, that is problematic. And I maybe if there's a silver lining here, that's one of them. That's everyone's problem. Matt's been on that. Other, Jesse Friedman, they're advocates for solid hosting, quality infrastructure for WordPress really matters, and the community needs to look at that. There's a security angle. We have a patch stack talking to and involved in this and addressing more than GDPR, but basic fundamental needs that are not going to go away. They're in the future.
Okay, just because time is short, I'm going to put a lid on that one, but I believe I already did link to the Yoast piece maybe 2 weeks ago, but I will link to it again for added context, and the Karim one as well. Taco, if you wouldn't mind sending me those links, then I will have more of a memory than because when this call typically ends, most of what I said just evaporates from my head. But we got a few bits to get through, so I'll just make some expediting decisions about what we can and can't follow. We did those ones. Just a quick one. So this is interesting, following on from the work of people like Courtney Robertson, who was trying to get a sort of site, a contributor health dashboard set up and running. We now have this, which is the contributor dashboard. I mean, it is literally what it says on the tin. No time to add context to this, but all I'll do is, again, for a good decent coverage of this, head to the repository. There's an article there, WordPress contributor dashboard pilot now live, team proposes next phase. Maybe I'll come back to this next week because it's actually worth looking at, and it will, the idea being that if you are a contributor to the WordPress project, it's been very difficult to sort of track what everybody's up to and what does your contribution mean? How can you accrue credit, if you like? And so this is an endeavor to sort of make that publicly available so that people can see what's going on. But I'll just drop that in and then move on very quickly. We were talking about education earlier. This is so interesting, right? This is the WordPress Campus Connect. So it's on make.wordpress.org. The piece is called Bringing WordPress Campus Connect to Malaysia, a milestone for open source education at University Technology Malaysia. Apologies if I've mispronounced that. And it's by Naseem Mia, published on the 2nd of March. And we have mentioned on this show before what WordPress Campus Connect is. So I won't really dwell on that. But this article, man alive, if you want to put on one of these events, there is a lot of moving parts. And I don't mean that in a negative way. I don't mean that to say, gosh, how complicated this is. What I'm saying is hats off to the people who put this stuff together, because there's a boatload, and typically when you see an article like this, it's like a one line, like, oh, we did this thing. And then somebody writes an article like this where you then get to see all the different things that make something like this happen. And it's pretty incredible. And the idea really with WordPress Campus Connect is that this is going to roll out globally. So templates like this are going to be really helpful for other people putting on hopefully events like this and getting a younger generation kind of interested in WordPress. So I just learned a lot. I glibly kind of thought that these things kind of fell out of the ether and, you put them on and it's a piece of cake. No. There's a lot of hard work. And so congratulations to everybody connected with this.
Weren't you involved in WordCamp Whitley Bay's organization?
No, I was not. No, which is probably why I'm kind of not knowledgeable about it. I haven't really been involved on that side. I mean, I'm involved in meetups and things like that, but I was, and obviously when you get into real world institutions, I imagine you are adding bureaucracy layers hitherto as yet unimagined. Paperwork that needs to be filled in, risk assessment. I don't know what it's like over in Malaysia, but I know that in the UK, just putting your foot through the door, you got the mountain of paperwork and insurance policies and all of that nonsense to fill in. So, yeah, amazing. So hats off to anybody that's been involved with that. I'm really, really impressed. Right, very, very quickly then. We've done that one. That's handy. We mentioned the article by Jeffrey Paul. We'll come back to that at the end. If you're a Divi user, I don't know how long you've waited for this, but it feels like it could have been like since 2004. I don't know when, but it's Divi 5. It's a thing. Divi 5 is finally here. It feels like people have been talking about this for a long time. It has finally been released. I have never used Divi. I'm not casting any aspersions. I just don't know anything about it. So I don't know how seismic this update is. But anyway, congratulations to the crowd over at Divi for getting it shipped.
Yeah. I think Divi 4 was 2019, so...
Okay, it's a while.
It's been a few years in the making.
7 years. Yeah. And I think this beta release was like a full 12 months or something like that. So now either that speaks to their incredible finessing the details, or maybe it's just been a slow slog trying to update everything. But man, Divi is used a lot. There is a ton of people using Divi, and for some reason it never quite gets on my radar. I don't know why that is. Just that usage of it never quite connects. But when you see the data and you see the lines of the different building technologies in WordPress, Divi is always crazy high up on that list. So anyway, there you go. Go and install your website up to that. I'm not going to mention that quickly. Just 3 events to mention very, very quickly. If you still haven't decided about it, now's the time. Make your decision. WordCamp Asia is coming up very, very soon, April the 9th to April the 11th. I would like to go, but my visa was declined. I don't know why my visa was declined, but I got an email the other day saying you're not allowed.
There's security risk.
You're in good company, though. I've heard more European visa applications being declined.
Yeah, well, mine was declined, and I've got to apply in a different way. Anyway, well, I'm sure I'll figure it out. But yeah, it was interesting. Let's just put it that way. So I'm going to have to figure that out. But I would like to go. But anyway, just to let you know, it's happening the 9th to the 11th of April, coming up soon. Also, Birgit Pauli-Hack put together a list of selected sessions, so I thought I'd mention that as well. You can tell I'm in a bit of a rush. Call for photographers. If you're heading to Krakow and you want to be a part of the photography team, they're looking for photographers right now. So if you like cables, apparently, then looks like this lot love a good cable. So many cables. Look at that. Then you.
Are you rushing? Are you rushing to talk about the that Doom story? Or
yes,
about your tiny,
I want to get back to the Doom. I want to get back to the Doom story, exactly. Oh, and here we go for Dan, maybe. WordCamp Canada, shifting locations, going from where it has been to the right on the other side of Canada. So it's moving to Vancouver. I don't know what the dates are, but look at that, lovely Vancouver.
A little later in November. Yeah,
November.
this time.
Man, it'll be like. Does Vancouver not get quite as cold as the eastern parts? Okay, yeah.
It might be a little damp, might be rainy,
more
but
temperate.
It's nice.
That time of the year. Okay, yeah. WordCamp Canada is happening in Vancouver. That's really all I've got to say about that. And the last one on the event side of things is WP Accessibility Day 2026 is now open for sponsors. So if you would like to be part of that, then go to WP Accessibility Day /2026 / call for sponsors.
And if you care about accessibility, the WP Accessibility Day team has also opened a fundraiser to get an accessibility booth at WordCamp Europe.
Yes,
and we still need funding. So if you care about accessibility and you want to spread it at probably the biggest WordPress event in 2026, then make sure to head over to WordPress Accessibility Day and find that crowdfunding.
And no doubt there'll be links on this. We definitely mentioned it when it came out. It's like almost like a crowdfunding kind of thing that's going on. It's like a give WP sort of campaign or something like that. So definitely go and check that out. And we will end the show. There's two things that I want to mention, but I've somehow managed to make all of my screens disappear. I'm hanging by a thread. Dan, I was saying at the beginning, I've had things going on with my eyes, and so just clicking the buttons is fun. So where is it? Right, okay. Imagine the scenario whereby I've stopped sharing my screen, haven't I? I wonder how I did that. Let me put my screen back on quickly, because you need it for this. Imagine a scenario where you get a load of brain cells, like actual brain cells, neurons, and you put them, you sort of take them out of a brain. Don't know how you do that, but you do. And then you put them in a Petri dish, and then you basically attach electrodes. You get really clever. You get some really clever, credible neuroscientists, and you want to make them into like a circuit, like a microchip. Well, what is the certified test for whether or not you've succeeded? Well, it might be, can it play Pong? Well, apparently it can. It did Pong like a whole year ago. It figured out Pong. So next step, Doom. So they've got literal neurons in a Petri dish playing Doom. Now, I've got to say, if you watch the video, the word playing is a little bit of a misnomer. They're not really playing Doom. But what they've done is they've managed to isolate so that when certain things happen on the screen, the neurons react in this certain way. Their technology kind of reads that reaction and then interprets that as a do this thing. So it could be move left, could be move right, could be fire the gun. But what the heck?
There was another one. Did you see the one where the guy set up a system for his dog to vibe code? It's similar.
That's insane. But I mean, literally insane. And all I can say is they all seem to be Australian. Every single person on every video seems to be an Australian. So, but
I think amazing. That's where Cortical Labs is based.
Cortical Labs, which is who are doing it. I mean, I make it sound like it's literally Petri dishes. It's not. It's when you watch the videos, it's this like highly secure, clever technology. They've obviously got the neurons in this some kind of substrate where they're attaching it. It doesn't look like a Petri dish, and then they drop that into some other device which looks like a little computer, and so it goes. But fact is, it's playing Doom, and it won't. I don't suppose it'll be too long before it's really good.
We'll be in trouble when they can. We'll be in trouble when they can podcast. If fast forward 5 years, it'll have Nathan, a Petri dish, a dog, and maybe Taco and Dan.
At this point, you don't need.
I'm not
Nathan.
sure if
Nathan's
you're comparing me to the Petri dish or the dog at this point.
It's coming.
But then you're the other.
It's coming. A Petri dish will do all the things. Right. Okay. So that's insane. But I just want to. This is the last piece for today. I'm sorry. I'm keeping you all a bit longer than usual. But this is my new greatest thing. I love this more than I can say. You're going to think I'm an idiot. I think it's wonderful. That's a phone, right? There's a phone. Everybody knows what that looks like. I hate these things so badly. There's so much wrong with these things. So what you need?
Yes, yours is missing glitter.
No, what you need? No. It's got them there. But what you need is this. Oh!
That's not a
this
phone,
is my
Nathan.
new phone.
That's a pager.
It's not. It's a full-on Android 16 phone that's that big. The keyboard is impossible to use. The letters are just like this microscope. Let me see if I can put it on the screen and show you what the keyboard.
Don't need a keyboard.
There's the keyboard.
Yeah.
Can you see the keyboard at the bottom? It's probably out of focus, but there's my finger.
Aren't you the one who just told us that you have problem with your site at the moment?
So what can you do? Basically nothing. This is the goal. The whole goal is if it doesn't have big icons like the music app, you can't use it. And so now I've found myself this perfect phone that does the minimum that I need, which is sat nav, handles it like a champ. As soon as it's plugged into the car, I go to the phone, the screen in the car, don't need to worry about the phone anymore. And it'll play songs on my music app of choice because they're all big fat icons. And it will play podcasts because they're all big fat icons. But anything to do with typing, cannot do it. And it's the best thing in the world. And I'm absolutely loving it. And it's got the best name. Oh, by the way, you have to have a strap because it's so small, you drop it all the time. So you just attach it to your wrist. It's called, wait for it, the Jelly Star. And there it is in all its wonderful glory. It's got NFT, so not NFT, NFC, so I can do the Google payments. Yeah, it's like the size of your headphone box.
Exactly.
Anyway, go check it out. If you too are trying to de-phone your life, this is the antidote. It's absolutely brilliant, and I'm loving having no interactions.
I'm pretty sure if someone has a latest generation smartwatch, it's bigger than your phone.
Oh yeah. Well, I don't know. Let's pop it on the wrist and see what we've. It's
almost. See, if you turn it 90 degrees, it actually fits. So
okay. Let me open it up, and I'll open up the. I'll just quickly do the podcast app because that's something that we can all get our heads around. So that's what it looks like, right? It's just a bunch of icons. I can click those. There's the size of my finger. That's all I need. There you go. And on that bombshell, we'll wrap it up. Yeah, I know. It makes no sense.
We're so on the opposite sides of the universe.
Oh, it's so good. My life is quiet. There's no bing bong or any of that nonsense anymore. No browser, no nothing, no email, no social networks, no nothing. Just
okay, so there's one thing I have to ask, Nathan.
Okay, yeah.
How long does it run on a single charge?
About a day and a half. Yeah, longer than your phone. Way longer than your phone. Yeah.
Well, no, mine does actually a day and a half.
So because you'll notice it's way thicker than my old phone. So there's the old phone, right? And it's basically because you can't build that kind of technology and put a battery in it without increasing its width, because usually a significant proportion of the actual phone is the battery, maybe as much as half of it or something like that. So it's a bit chunkier. So they've got a fairly decent sized battery in, but it's not going to win any awards, I don't think, on that. Oh, and the camera's diabolical. Well, actually, I don't know if the camera's. I'm looking at pictures with my new eyes, and maybe the pictures are great, but I just can't see them. So anyway, there we go. Jelly Star, go get them, everybody, before they run out.
Yeah, sure probably not, but thanks.
When I see you in person, I'll show it to you, and you'll have to remove the crumb from on top of it first so that you can see it. Right, there we go. That's it. Thank you to my guests. So we've got Bud Kraus, we've got Steve.
You do this now?
Burge. Yeah, we're going to do the hands in a minute. Taco Verdonschot, and Bud. Sorry, Dan Knauss over there somewhere. He's over there somewhere. I don't know where he is, but he's over there. I appreciate it. Thank you so much for joining us. If you put a comment in, really appreciate it. To be honest with you, if there's been any comments, I haven't really been able to read them, so I'm sorry about that. They're a bit small in the UX here, so sorry. I got a few on, but that was as much as I could manage. Right. If you don't mind, can we do the hand wave?
What do we do? The hand?
The hand. That's it. Everybody get the hands in. That's it. Taco's giving us a good grin. There we go. I will see you next week, all things being equal. And if you guys want to stick around for a minute afterwards and have a chat, that'd be nice. But